You're up next on the Savage Nation. Hello, Steve.
Hey, how's it going? I just heard that you don't really know much about what's going on. I was wondering if, rather than blaming the gun so fast, do you know anything about what drugs he was on to maybe turn him into such a ticking time bomb? If maybe this is, it looks like, to me personally, it looks like another Sandy Hook job. I mean, the lines that are coming out of him seems very cliche, like, I'm afraid of the black people. All these black people are going to take my women. I mean, that's just, it's one of those things that came out from the 90s that it's just one of those joke lines, just to stir everyone up, just to make, the common, Southern.
No, you keep saying, I know. I don't know what you're talking about. No, it has no semblance to Sandy Hook. We don't know if he's on the spectrum in any way. The gunman in Sandy Hook didn't say anything. Joke line, no, I don't understand that. And as far as we'll find out, he was caught with some drugs on him, but it's a drug that has to do as almost like a painkiller. I mean, nothing like a hallucinatory type drug or anything like that. Let's go to line 7. Tom is listening on WABC New York. Tom, this is John DePietro, and you're on the Savage Nation. Hello, Tom.
Hi, I just want to make a point about the Confederate flag. I'm from the North. I've never been in the South, never lived in the South. However, the Civil War was in 1861 to 1865. We were a nation in 1776. So slavery flew under the American flag for 79 years, and nobody said a word. In 1865, when the 13th Amendment came and freed the slaves, for another 100 years, black people were still, for the lack of a better word, slaves, because they weren't allowed to do anything.
I know, but Tom, if you thank you for the call, but if you take a look at this suspect, this Dylan Ruff, I mean, he looks lost to begin with. So, you have a 20-year-old kid that doesn't seem to have any direction, going anywhere. He's wearing an apartheid jacket. I mean, all those things separately, and then he's got the Confederate flag on the license plate. Again, everything separately. I'm sure there are plenty of people who do that aren't violent in any way. And then the father gives him a gun for his birthday. There's something, I think, mentally wrong with this person. We'll take more of your phone calls. 1-855-400-SAVAGE. John DePietro sitting in. This is the Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE. 855-400-7282. Savage.
It is in our power to do something about it. I say that recognizing the politics in this town foreclose a lot of those avenues right now. But it'd be wrong for us not to acknowledge it. And at some point, it's going to be important for the American people to come to grips with it. And for us to be able to shift how we think about the issue of gun violence collectively.
That is President Obama. You're listening to the Savage Nation. This is John DePietro sitting in for Dr. Michael Savage. You're welcome. That was President Obama speaking earlier at the White House. You're welcome to call the program 1-855-400-SAVAGE, 1-855-400-7282. Remember, check out the website. It's michaelsavage.com, where right now you can purchase Dr. Savage's new book, Countdown to Mecca. It is available right now online at the website, or, of course, you could buy it online or through Amazon or any type of bookstore in your particular area, and many other articles, news, everything you need right there at michaelsavage.com. Well, earlier this year, the accused gunman, Dylan Ruff, charged earlier trespassing charge, Lexington County, South Carolina. According to the arrest warrant, he was approached by a police after a store complained about him. After a search, police found an unlabeled pill bottle with, quote, multiple orange in-color strips, believed to be Suboxone, a drug used to relieve painkiller addiction. Ruff told police that a friend gave him the drugs. If you've ever taken that and you have some experience, or maybe it made you act a certain way, or any type of side effects, Suboxone, call up to the program. I'd like to hear someone firsthand. 1-855-400-SAVAGE. There are many different articles I saw Anthea Butler, who wrote in the Washington Post that she writes, quote, listen to major media outlets. You won't hear the word, quote, terrorism used in coverage of today's shooting. You won't hear the white male shooter identified as 20-year-old Dylan Roth described as a possible terrorist. And if coverage of recent shootings, white supremacists, any indication, he never will be. Instead, the go-to explanation for his actions will be mental illness. He'll be humanized, called sick, victim of mistreatment, inadequate mental health resources. Activist Delray McKisson noted this morning while discussing Roth's motivation, an MSNBC anchor said, we don't know his mental condition. That is the power of whiteness in America. No, that's a fact that we don't know what his mental condition is. Trying to find out someone's mental condition, I don't think that plays into race. The president obviously, and listen, the gunman is quoted allegedly saying, I'm here to kill black people. So it is race. And his actions as far as what he was wearing and what he was posting and the flags and the apartheid jacket certainly point to race. And some of the comments he had allegedly made of why he was there and had to do it certainly point to race. But I don't think it's ready just yet that he's a terrorist. And the fact if someone says, listen, there is something mentally deranged by someone that would do something like that, the same way there is something mentally wrong with someone that would behead another human to, quote, support ISIS. Let's go to line 3. Doug is listening on WVNN in Alabama. Doug, you're up on the Savage Nation. Hello, Doug.
John, thank you for having me on.
Very welcome.
John, it hasn't been that long. I don't know, a year, maybe a year and a half. There's, if I remember this right, it was a mega church, a large church, and a man opened fire in this church. And my memory may be wrong here, but I want to remember that it was a lady, maybe it was an off-duty deputy that had a weapon and stopped the individual in the church. Do I remember that right, John?
I believe so, yes.
All right, and just one last comment, John. This is hey, if he said what he said and did what he did, hey, he did it because those people were different than him, and he saw that in a different way. And that's not right. It's not any more right than if you look at Florence, Alabama, in the last 2 weeks, you will see a group of 30 or so blacks attacked a white family, a man, his 14-year-old son, and then busted the window out of the van, injuring a child under the age of 10. And nobody's called that a hate crime yet. In fact, they're still trying to decide that if it is. But the man was tasered several times and beaten, but nothing but other than he was the wrong skin color. It doesn't matter which color you are. That's wrong. It doesn't matter if it's whites doing it or it's either way. It's wrong either way, and it needs to be held accountable.
Absolutely, Doug, and thank you for the call. And to be clear, someone goes into a church where people are innocently praying and to gun down and massacre 9 innocent people. Anyone that would do that to me is deranged, whatever their motivation may be. I mean, it is horrific. On the one hand, at least good, there is the death penalty. He should receive the death penalty. Let's go to line 5. Bert is listening on WDRC. Bert, this is John DePietro, and you're up next on the Savage Nation. Hello, Bert.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Very welcome.
I'm looking at this as 2 issues. One, the White House and this president being an opportunist, and once again, taking the opportunity, even though all of the facts are not in, to attack the Second Amendment. And I guarantee if there were other people in that church who were pointing pistols at this punk, that he would have thought twice. And the second issue is the same problem as him coming out in a nanosecond against the Cambridge policeman in Cambridge break, acting stupidly. This is the president who can come out in a nanosecond about an issue that he's trying to tear down the Constitution, whereas what have we heard about Benghazi? What have we heard about the IRS? What have we heard about the shooting of the border guard? Well, that's going to take research.
Thank you for the call, Bert. If you own, we don't know what the weapon was just yet, but his father had given the gunman a .45 caliber for his 21st birthday. If you own one, they're saying right now, a report is, one of the witnesses, we'll play it again, was that he loaded and reloaded 5 times. If you have a .45 caliber, if you just call up, I'd like you to hear you say how long something like that would take to reload, if in fact he did reload 5 different times during this shooting rampage. Call us at 1-855-400-SAVAGE, 1-855-400-7282. Let's go to Jeff on line 9, who's listening on WMAL in Washington, D.C. Jeff, this is John DePietro, and you're up on the Savage Nation. Hello, Jeff.
I had a comment about attacking once again the Second Amendment. You know, it's always a political agenda, especially with a lot of the liberals in this country that attack it. But he wants to go down the road about the racial issue, which that could very well be the case. All I have to say is I myself am American Indian, and I was always taught by my grandparents the difference between being a minority and an oppressed minority is the Second Amendment. You do have a right to defend yourself in this country, and you do have the equal right as anyone else. So instead of attacking that, I think he needs to move on and get off the political issue all the time about the Second Amendment.
Thank you for the call, Jeff. I mean, one thing, is there anyone... It's amazing right now how much race is nonstop in the news. Race is nonstop a problem in the country, and the president, to me, doesn't seem to do anything to bridge that gap or bring anything together. The week started with the fraud, the woman from Spokane, Washington, the fake African American head of the NAACP, saying she thinks she's black or she identifies of being black, and then it is non-stop racial unrest. And once again, I don't know how the White House is going to try to bridge the gap on this either. 1-855-400-SAVAGE. Let's play cut 2. This is a woman who spoke apparently with someone who was an eyewitness, who was right there in the church.
At the conclusion of the Bible study, they just start hearing loud noises just ringing out. And the suspect had already wounded a couple of individuals, one of the survivors. And she said that he had reloaded 5 different times. And her son was trying to talk him out of killing people. And he just said, I have to do it. You rape our women and you're taking over our country. And you have to go.
Let's go to line 7. Jeff is listening on KKOH in Reno. Jeff, you're up next on the Savage Nation. Hello, Jeff.
Hi. 2 points. First of all, the President said that there have not been episodes like this in other countries. Had he gone to the march in Paris, he would know that it happened there. He'd also be unaware, I guess, that it happened horrendously in Norway, where the man went to the island and shot youths one after another and reloaded many times. So these things do happen in other countries. And number 2 is I'm concerned about that the antidepressant drugs, in rare cases, very often these shooters are on antidepressants. And I wonder if this young man will find out he was. I think they help many people and probably decrease the overall suicide rate, but it could be in the wrong person's hands that it leads to tragic events.
Excellent point, Jeff. Thank you for the call. There's something, obviously, we're going to find out, I think, this Dylan Roth, something, definitively, mentally wrong with a 21-year-old or anyone any age, but especially 21 years old, and to go in and commit such a heinous crime. Let's go to line 8. Mark is listening on WABC in New York. Mark, this is John DePietro, and you're up next on the Savage Nation. Hello, Mark.
Yes. Thanks for having me on the show.
Welcome.
I got 2 points. The first point is, it's horrible what happened here. Definitely horrible. But I think that this kid was coached by somebody, and what happened is, one of the pastor is a politician. I think they coached the kid to kill this guy, because he's a politician.